Mina.
Hi.
David, how are you, man?
It's good to see you, brother. Mina.
Hi.
Hey, you all were both wonderful today, and we have like 15 minutes. And I'm going to throw a question at you that is something we haven't spoken about in this conference much. Mina, you use the word heart a lot. And I know Dune well enough to know that he brings a lot of heart into the work. And you might have heard the term sacred activism. And I know that both of you in your own ways, not necessarily religious, not necessarily spiritual, but you come from a deep ground of what I would call the sacred. And I would love it if you would talk a little bit about what that means for you and your work and how that relates to your own cultures and homeland. And Mina, go.
Right now. So it's all about the sacred. It's all about the personal. So the East-West, even building the bridge between US and China is to mend the East-West divide within myself. And it's also to mend the hurt I felt when I was young, when my father said, "You will never be able to understand me, you being born in America, or you being raised in America versus me in China." And I feel like the only real purpose in life for me is learning how to love. And so designing experiences, doing any of this is just an act of love. And it's not for other people, but it's rooted in the personal determination, the personal journey.
June, over to you. Same question.
Sure. It takes me back to when I was 10, when my mother told me I was the one. And I said, "The one what?" And she said, "You're the one who's going to save our land and our people and our culture and our language and our wild salmon." And I said, "I'm 10, Mama." And I said, "What about Debbie, Linda, Pam, Bruce, Joe, and Don?" And, she said, "No, you're the most stubborn and you have the most willpower." And so from 10 on, I was groomed to do this work. And they taught me about the seasons of animals and berries and, just all the different seafoods and how to harvest them, how to process them, how to take care of them. And so when the Exxon Valdez oil spill happened in our backyard, 44 miles from my home, I realized that that was the day that the ocean died, but something inside of me came to life. And I realized that I needed to live up to my Eyak name, Jamutsuki, which means little bird that screams really loud and won't shut up. But I also had to not only be louder than everything else, but remain a voice of reason so people would listen. And so I had to find compassion and listen to my heart rather than my mind and quit believing everything my mind thought. And I had to go out into the wild and ask the animals and the salmon if I could speak for them. And I said, "If you have anything that you want to say from here on out, then use me as a conduit, because I'm going to go in with a blank slate and it's all up to you." And that's changed everything in my activism.
Hey, Mike. Mike is a co-moderator of this panel. And Mike, do you want to ask a question?
Well, good morning, all. And first of all, I'd like to say to Dune Gunalchich for being here, and Mina, Sheshe. We're happy to have you on our panel. And so, Dune, you made a statement that justice for just us is not the approach. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. When in 1994, we had won a $5 billion verdict for the punitive damage award of the Exxon settlement. And we had felt that we deserved upwards of $20 billion. And Exxon came into town and they said, we're Exxon, we do it right. You're lucky that the oil spill happened under our watch. We're going to make everything right and we're going to make you whole again. And so rather than do that, they said that when our nets didn't fill up, they would pay us. When our rooms didn't fill up, the bed and breakfast and hotels, that they would pay for that as well. And in the meantime, they appealed that decision 17 times until they got the Supremes of their dreams. And when the justices decided to take that case, they didn't do it to set a precedent to see that justice prevailed. They took it so just us would prevail, because they didn't want to see a 17-1 payout for a for a man-made catastrophe. They wanted to see a 2-1 payout. So in future damage awards, we had received $287 million in compensatory damages. So they only wanted to pay $500 million. They didn't want a 17-1 payout and have to pay the $5 billion to the 30,000 plaintiffs. By the time Exxon was done appealing, it was 20 years later, and 20% of the original plaintiffs had died, never seeing justice in their life. And so when I think about, what this means to me, there's two different classes. There's two different settlements. There's two different reasons why things happen in these courtrooms. And so I just feel that we need to keep pushing the envelope on every level we possibly can, whether it's legal, whether it's legislative, whether it's in the media or it's direct action. The only way we're going to get justice if we go seek it on our own.
Thank you, Dune. Mike, you have a question for Mina, or do you want me to just roll?
Go ahead.
All right, I got another question for both of you. And we have like 7 or 8 minutes. And the question is, what's a big question in your own life right now? As you think about your work, your purpose, as Dune, 10 years old, your calling, your mission in life. What's a big question that you are holding in your own heart? Mina, come on.
And the question I most ask myself is, and how is this teaching me how to love? And how is this teaching me how to love? And how is this teaching me how to love? On a practical level, there's also the question of how do I best use this film for the greatest good? Actually, the Civility conference is the first audience set to see it, because we literally just finished it and edited it. So we're in the question of how do we best use this? And I don't see a world where we can have world peace without having peace between US and China. So how do we build that and use that for the greatest good?
And tell us just a word about what you mean by love. That's 17 words for snow in Alaska, right? So that means a lot of different things. What does it mean to you?
What is preventing my heart from opening right now? How am I not seeing what this person is experiencing and their suffering as something that I felt? How am I judging and rejecting? One of my teachers once said, an open heart cannot feel rejected. So what is my present moment experience, and how can I expand and include and see the sameness in every single experience when I otherize it, when I dehumanize, when I see it as not me or the enemy?
That's good. Thank you. So Dune, it's a big question on your mind and heart.
I wonder if we humans possess the courage and the boldness to get it right before it's too late. At certain times when I ask myself that question, I don't think so. Other times when I hang out with the youth and I hang out with the team that we built around the Native Conservancy, I feel hopeful and I feel like we're going to get it right. But my mother would always tell her 7 little Indians, there's nothing stronger in this world than your belief in yourself and your dreams.
Mm.
And my father was a man's man and a pontificator. And he would say things like, well, if a man would do this or a man would do that, a man could change the world. Well, I changed that to a person. And I combined that with what my mother said. And I realized I could be that person and that I could fulfill my dreams. But we, as a human race, we need to dream big. And like Mina says, we need to love big. And we need to go big if we're really going to make a difference while it still matters. And so how I do my work, and everybody has their own way, but we need to imagine and visualize and manifest the world that we want to live in. And so I'm just absolutely honored to be in this circle with you all and have some of the minds around us. And that, like I said earlier, I could listen to Mina speak all day. And so I think it's really important that we open our minds and our hearts and think differently and certainly act differently.
There is a great Chinese proverb, Mina, that says the best way to fight evil is to energetic progress in the good. And that's what I see, both of you doing so strongly and so beautifully. So, does that resonate?
Thank you both for joining us today on this occasion. And hopefully in the breakout sessions, we'll have a little bit more time to be able to plumb a little bit deeper into your thinking.
All righty. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Dune, good to see you again. Mina, as always.
Thank you so much for inviting us, Sawyer. And Dune, it's very inspirational to be able to hear you. Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
What a great panel discussion. We know you all have a lot going on today and may need to step away for a bit. A reminder that we're recording all of our sessions except for the breakouts, so you will be able to come back and catch anything you missed at a later date, or if you're so inclined, even to review it for a second or a third time. Many of you have already voted on 8 different potential position statements, and you seem to be settling on about 3 of them. So if you haven't already weighed in, please take a moment to go to the polling section and share with us your thoughts.